kind.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi guys, this is Jamie. We still have a few minutes before we get started with the Be Basic. Behind me is Taylor. She's my neighbor, one of my besties, and she will be our model as we are going through the flow for the next 45 minutes or so. We're just going to go until we're done. So for everyone watching, thanks. I hope that you get something out of this. With all of us being kind of locked down at home, I know that it's easy to get frustrated and anxious and all of that. And I started yoga approximately like a little over 9 years ago. And just doing it on a regular basis actually got me off all of my anxiety medicines that I was taking on a daily and weekly basis within about 6 months of just doing yoga regularly. So whether you're watching this live or you watch this later, just know that just a regular yoga class just a couple of times a week can really do a ton for you. So we've got some music in the background and we'll get started in just a few minutes. A couple of things that I would recommend, obviously a yoga mat is ideal. Also some yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, Rihanna from her video earlier this week, she mentioned that you could use a pot from your kitchen, just something that will give you some lift, that will lift the ground up for you, should it be difficult to get to. I also like to mention that I offer up a ton of variations throughout the class, so take the variation that works best for you. Listen to your body. It's hard when I can't see you. So if something doesn't feel good in the body, back away from that and modify as needed. If at any point in time you just need to take a break, that's totally cool. The great thing about this is nobody sees. So just go ahead and get set up. You might need a towel or some water close by as well.
Are there people on?
I don't know how any of this works. Oh, there's 4 people. Hi, 4 people. I don't know who you are. I don't know. I've never done this before. I don't know how this works.
They can comment, I think, and say who they are.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, just a couple more minutes. This is
Bean yoga. I like those little. These are cute. Bean yoga.
Oh, and also because we will probably be here for a couple weeks, we're definitely going to be doing the live classes for at least another week. Five Below has these for literally $5 if you don't already have them.
And mats.
And they have mats as well, and straps. They have all the things.
If they're still open.
Yes.
I like the music.
Thank you. I didn't make it.
Is Brutus and Mickey through? Mickey, Mickey through.
Mm-hmm. I think I started too early because I'm out of things to say now.
You're just staring. It's gonna be fun. She's the best yoga instructor ever. Are more people logged on?
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we've got about 45 to 55 minute flow today. This is Be Basic. Again, my name's Jamie. I teach at Be Yoga. This is my typical Saturday time, whether in the studio or doing it virtually. So thanks for hopping on. Be Basic just means that I'm going to break down the postures. So Taylor will be showing the postures and I'll be helping her get in and out of them. Oh, hey, Laura. So Be Basic, just I'm breaking down the postures. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be easy. And this is what I say in all of my classes. So be prepared to get out of your comfort zone. Be prepared to try some things that you maybe haven't tried before. And that's okay. But as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, if something doesn't feel right in your body, I'm not close by. I can't see you. So back away from anything that does not feel like it's aiding your body. Okay. If at any point in time you need to take a break, take a break. That's totally fine. But we're going to go ahead and get started just in an easy seated position. So you can crisscross your legs or whatever feels good. Close your eyes. Bring your hands to your knees. Lift your chest up, right? So you've got enough space to inhale deeply and then exhale deeply. Right. So this has been a stressful week or couple of weeks really. And so sometimes it's hard to just remember to breathe. So again, just inhale super deeply and then open up your mouth and let it go. And again, inhale and release. And then from here, just begin to find a nice even breath. Something that is 2, 3, 4 seconds in, filling up the lungs, expanding the chest, and then exhaling for that same count of 3, 4, or 5 seconds. And keeping this evenness, the Samavriti pranayama throughout the class, okay? If you have an Ujjayi practice or any other breathing techniques that you prefer, you can absolutely do that. Otherwise, just keep with Samavriti or even breath breathing as we go in and out of the postures, okay? From here, we're going to go to a child's pose. So bring your knees to the mat. You'll bring your toes to touch your knees away from each other. You'll sink your hips back towards your heels, and then your chest and forehead will go towards the ground. At any point in time, like I mentioned before, that you need a break, this is a great opportunity, a great posture to use. So again, it's child's pose. You can take it at any point in time. And then really begin to press or feel your hips sinking towards your heels. If this is too much for your hips, you can always bring your knees to touch, and that will alleviate some of the pressure. And again, going back to that breath. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. You'll begin to walk your fingertips forward towards the front of your mat, really engaging through your arms, feeling your elbows lift off of your mat. And then rise up to a hands and knees position. So your knees are going to be underneath your hips. Your wrists are going to be underneath your shoulders. From here, a couple of cat-cows. So inhale, drop your belly down to the mat, making a U shape with your spine, look up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, round your spine. Press out through your shoulder blades, tuck your chin. And then again, inhale, drop your belly, look up. And exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin. Good. We'll do this a couple more times. Inhale, drop your belly. If it feels good to sway your hips side to side, you can do that. And then exhale, round your spine and maybe rock forward and backwards, just really waking up through the entire spine. Inhale, drop your belly, cow pose, and then exhale, round your spine for cat pose. Good. Coming back to a neutral spine, a nice flat back parallel with your mat. You're going to tuck your toes under. Tuck your toes under. Tuck your toes under. Oh. And then lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Okay. And take a couple of breaths here. You can walk your dog out, bending one knee, straightening the other, feeling the hamstring stretching down into the calves. Good. Press your chest back towards your thighs. Good. So really opening up through the chest. Good. And then from here, inhale, drop your knees back down to your mat, hands and knees position. Keeping your hips where they are, coming into puppy pose, walk your hands out, chest comes down. So your hips stay as they are, walk your hands forward. Yep, press your chest down. Yeah, good. Opening up through the front of the body, opening up through the shoulders here. And then walking back to hands and knees position. So your wrists come underneath your shoulders once more, a nice flat back here. From here, extend your right leg back behind you. Good. You'll lift your leg up. Your heel will be parallel with your hip. Yeah, good. Flex your toes up towards your knee. Good. You can stay just like this, or you can extend your left arm out in front of you. Good. So you can already feel your core fire up a little bit. If you'd like to continue, you'll exhale your elbow and your knee to come to touch underneath your body. And extend. And to touch. And to extend. To touch. To extend. Good. Again, staying just like this, or you can bend your right leg. Good. Bend your right leg, and then your left hand will come back to grab your foot. Ooh. Good. And then press your foot back to really open up through the shoulder, through the hips. Hi, Danielle. And then slowly releasing, bringing everything long, and then down to the mat. Long. And then down to the mat. Good. And then same thing other side, right? So extend your left leg long, flex your toes back towards your feet. Staying just like this, a nice flat back here. Good. Extend your right leg or right hand out in front of you. Again, you can stay just like this, or exhale, elbow and knee to touch. And extend. And to touch. And extend. And last time, exhale to touch. Extend. Staying as you are, bending your left leg up, catching your foot with your right hand. Good. Press your foot back, really opening up here. And it's okay to feel a little unsteady. Balancing on one hand and one knee typically doesn't happen in a normal day, so. And then slowly releasing, coming back to hands and knees position. Got it. Lowering down. And a couple more cat-cows here. So inhale, drop your belly. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, drop your belly. Exhale, round your spine. Good. Coming back to that neutral spine. Tuck your toes once more. Good. And lift your knees just 2 inches off the mat. Good. Really feeling your core fire up. Lower, lower, lower. Yeah. Okay. So really feeling your core fire up for 3, for 2, 1. Downward facing dog. Hips are up and back, making that upside down V with your body. Checking in with your breath, making sure that you're breathing. Inhale, lift your right leg up. All the way up. Good, good, good. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Good. And if your foot doesn't make it there, if this is where you ended up, that's okay. You just pick your foot up and you put it there, right? We're trying to get a nice stretch down this left hip flexor. You can lower your left knee down.
Do that?
Mm-hmm. And then bring your arms up overhead. Good. Low lunge here. So again, trying to get a stretch down the left hip flexor. If you're not feeling it, you can always place your hands on your mat and slide your left leg back for more, but you don't have to by any means. Okay. From here, bring your left hand down to your mat, and then turn towards the right, really reaching up, going for the twist here.
Yeah, I feel it.
And then exhale your right hand down. Good. Keeping your hands down and keeping your hips up, begin to straighten through your right leg. So keep your hands down and then you'll straighten this leg. Yeah, flex your toes back towards your knees to intensify the pose. You'll feel this all the way down your calf.
Yeah, I feel it.
And then once again, bending into your right knee. Good, placing your hands on either side and then step your right foot back to the top of your push-up. So plank pose here. Good, so you can always lower your knees for support. You can go into full plank pose. Another option is just knees down, but you want to make sure that your knees, your hips, and your shoulders stay in alignment, whether you're full plank or have knees supported, okay? From here, lower all the way down to your belly. And all the way down. Yeah. And then inhale, lift your head and chest up. Nope, your hands stay where they are. Yep. Inhale, head and chest up. Exhale to release. Tuck your toes under. And then again, you can use knees for support here, but press all the way back up to your plank position. And then up and back, downward facing dog. Good. From here, inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Remember, if it doesn't make it there, you can pick it up and put it there. There's no problem with that. Lower your right knee down and bring your arms up overhead. Good. Low lunge. Really feeling the stretch down the right front side of the hip. Feeling nice and stable here. You'll plant your right hand down, and then left arm comes up, twisting to the left. And then exhale your left hand down. And then again, keeping your hands planted, begin to straighten through your left leg. Keep your hips high. We have a tendency to want to bring our hips all the way down to our heel, but we want to stay active in this posture. So flex your toes back towards your knee. Oof. Good. Yeah, stretching through the hamstrings down into the calf, maybe even down into the Achilles. Remembering to breathe. And then exhale, bending into your left knee. Plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Good. So again, you can always use knees for support, but you'll lower all the way down to your belly. Inhale, lift your head and your chest. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes, press up to plank pose. Up and back, downward facing dog. If you prefer to do a chaturanga with an upward facing dog, downward facing dog for your vinyasa, you can always do that. And then also know that if you need to skip a couple of vinyasas, that's totally fine. Vinyasa is meant to reconnect the body with the breath. And if that's not what's happening when you're doing it, then just take the next couple off. That's totally fine. Remember, child's pose is always an option. From here, inhale, lift your heels high, look forward, and then tiptoe, and then tiptoe your feet all the way to your hands. Inhale, half lift, so your back is flat, parallel with your mat, and then your hands come to your shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, your arms out wide, overhead, they come up and they touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. So from here, turn forward. Good. So from here, inhale your arms up. Your fingers are going to interlace, and then your hands are going to come up toward, the palms will come up towards the ceiling. Good. Exhale over to your right. This is good. Well, I always mirror people, so sorry. And then you can bring your left foot back behind you to just intensify the stretch. And then coming back to center. Exhale over to your left. And then your right foot can come back behind you. Coming back to center. Interlace your hands behind your back. And then bend your knees just slightly, fold forward, drawing your hands away from your low back.
Like flip them?
You don't have to flip them. Yeah, good. Good. So stretching through the shoulders here, bending your knees just slightly. Good. And then inhale, reach all the way up. Stand tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Your hands are to your shins. Your back is flat. Exhale, plant your hands and step back. So you'll go ahead and turn. Yeah. And then step back to the top of your push-up. Plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Good. And then from here, slide your elbows underneath your shoulders. So your forearms are on the mat. Good. Palms are facing down. Good. So coming into Sphinx pose, this is a super active pose. So I always tell people there are two ways to do this. The way that like you're a kid and you're eating Cheetos, watching TV, and you're just kind of like hanging out. Or to be really, really active. So really press down through your forearms, lift your chest, and try to pull your chest like in between your biceps to really feel it in the thoracic spine, this middle back right here. Trying to open it up. Good. If this is enough for you and you feel that stretch in your middle back, you can stay just like this. If you need more, you can always spread your fingers wide and then lift your elbows off of your mat to come into more of a seal pose. But you want to stay in this middle back area. If you start to feel pinching or pressure in the low back, lower back down to your elbows. And then lower your elbows down if they're lifted. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders once more, lowering your chest down. Yep. Good. Tuck your toes under. You'll press up to plank pose and then up and back, downward facing dog. Good. And then check in with your breath once more. Take a couple rounds of Samavriti, Ujjayi, any other breathing technique that you're currently using for practice today. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Stack your right hip over your left and bend your top knee. Good. Yep, just like that. And then do some knee circles, some really big knee circles. Yep. Do a couple times in each direction. Really opening up through the hips. Extend your right leg long. Three-legged dog. Hips are facing down. Exhale, step your foot all the way through in between your hands. Ground your left heel all the way onto your mat. So your heel is actually going to spine. So instead of being up like this, you're going to spiral it down so the entire sole of your foot is on the ground. And then inhale your arms overhead for warrior one. Good. So you want your hips facing forward, your chest facing forward. You want a nice bend in your right knee. And then really pressing in to the pinky edge side of this back foot, okay? On your next exhale, open up warrior two, so your arms are gonna become parallel with your mat. Good, your hips are now gonna be open up to the side wall. You wanna make sure that your chest is staying over your hips. Good, and then keeping that nice bend in your front knee. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Shoulder blades in towards one another, so draw them this way. Good. Good. Right palm will flip up. Left hand will slide down your back leg, reversing your warrior, really reaching the hand overhead. Inhaling back to warrior two. And then exhale your right elbow down to your right thigh. Left arm can go overhead. So they can reach up towards the ceiling or forward over bicep by your ear. Good. You can also take a block to the inside of your foot and you can bring your hand down to your block. And then to open up through the shoulder, you'll just Bring your hand behind your back. Okay, just some variations of side angle here. If you have any other variations, you can do the full bind. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. So if you'd like to try for birds of paradise or anything else, feel free to do so. But again, remembering to inhale and to exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. Good. If you're up or bound, go ahead and come back to this lunged position. Your left arm, okay, yep, and then we come back to warrior 2.
Oh, is that it?
It's okay.
Is that it?
It's totally fine, totally fine. And then just straighten through your right leg. Yep, your right leg straight. Oh, yep, that's all you do. And then your right hand will come back down to your block, to your pot, to whatever you have. And then your left arm comes up overhead for Trikonasana, triangle pose. So this is a really important pose where people tend to kind of fall out of it and kind of like hang out in triangle, which that's not triangle at all. We want to make sure that we're still very, very active. So like Taylor here, we're seeing the triangle with the legs. We're seeing the triangle between the arm, the torso, and the leg, and staying super, super active. Okay. And then if you'd like to add in some core, I didn't tell Taylor we were doing this. If you'd like to add in some core here, you'll bring your left hand forward, bicep by your ear. Bicep by your ear. Good. And then you'll bring your right hand out in front as well, like you're holding a beach ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we just hold here for 3, for 2, for 1. Inhale all the way up. Bring your hands to your hips. And go ahead and turn around. Yeah. So you'll rotate your right toes 90 degrees. So all toes are going to be facing the same direction. Separate your legs wider. So you want your legs about the distance of what a leg would be, like one leg length. Turn your toes in just slightly. So toes in, heels out. You'll keep your hands on your hips for wide-legged forward fold. Elbows will press back. Chest will inhale high. And then exhale, forward fold. Good. Once you folded, you can release your hands down to your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine and straighten your arms. So lengthen. Nope, your hands are still underneath your shoulders. Yep, there we go. And then exhale, fold as deeply as you can. You can begin to walk your hands in between your legs to get a deeper forward fold here. It's a little bright. Just breathing here. So this is one of those postures that we stay in for quite a few breaths. And the reason that we do so is because with every breath, we're just really creating more space for the spinal column. As you breathe, you can actually feel the muscles begin to release. Release the tension in your head or in your neck. So you should easily be able to just kind of like wiggle your head around. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders once more. So lengthen your spine, straighten your arms. Exhale your arms out like wings, out to either side of you. And then inhale, rise all the way up. Good. Hands to your hips once more. Right toes face forward. Right toes face towards the front of your mat. Yep. Oh. Come back into a warrior 2. So bend your knees, your arms are parallel. Yeah, there we go. And then hands all the way down to your mat, windmill them down. Step your right leg back. Plank pose. And then vinyasa. So you'll lower all the way down or go through chaturanga. You'll inhale to whatever back bend works for you. And then you'll release and press up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Reconnecting with your breath. And then can you go ahead and just downward facing dog the other way? So you'll be facing forward. Yeah.
Sorry.
Perfect. No. Okay, so same thing, other side. So you'll inhale, lift your left leg up. Stack your left hip over your right and bend your top knee. Okay. And then do some knee circles in one direction. And then in the other direction. So a couple of times each way. And then extend your left leg long. Three-legged dog. Hips are facing down. Good. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Your right heel is going to come down. So again, instead of your heel facing up, you're going to ground your entire foot down onto your mat. Inhale, raise your arms up overhead, warrior one. Got it. So a nice bend in your left knee. Nice straight right leg, really pressing into the pinky edge side of your foot. Your hips and your chest are facing forward towards the front of your mat. Exhale, open up, warrior two. So your arms become parallel with your mat. Your chest and your hips open up to your side wall. Still looking over your front fingertips. Something that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the class, there's something called a drishti, so it's a focal point. It's not a hard stare, it's a soft gaze, right? So it helps you to find balance in your vision, and so that makes it easier to balance the body, okay? From here, left palm flips up, right hand slides down your back leg, reversing your warrior, keeping your front knee nice and bent. Inhale to rise, warrior two. And then side angle. So left elbow comes down to your thigh. Right arm can either reach up towards the ceiling or forward with your bicep coming by your ear.
What do you do?
And then once again, you can place a block to the inside of your foot and place your hand on the block. So all that does is lift the earth up to you a little bit so that you're not falling out of this posture. Good. So again, you can stay like this, or you can take your top arm and just drop it back behind you to keep your chest nice and open. It's a really great shoulder opener. As with the other side, if you have something else that you prefer, if you want to do the full bind or work on birds of paradise, you can absolutely do that. Otherwise, we're just going to be here for about 3 more breaths.
Wow.
Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. If you're in any other positions, go ahead and begin to get out of Birds of Paradise or the full bind. We'll meet back up in Warrior Two. So inhaling, bring your arms long. Good. And then you'll just straighten through your left leg. Your left hand will come back down to your block. Your right hand will reach up towards the ceiling. Again, making sure that this is a full body posture and that you're not just hanging out in your legs here. So your torso feels engaged, your arms feel really, really strong. You can always spread your fingertips wide to make sure that you're staying active in this. Good. And then that really fun opportunity here, you'll bring your right hand. Nope, you stay, go back to triangle. Yep. And then you'll just reach your top hand forward of you. Your bottom hand comes to meet. Don't worry, I already did this for the day, so I don't have to do it again. And we'll be here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale all the way up. Bring your hands to your hips. Good. From here, your left toes are going to rotate 90 degrees. And we're just going to do a forward fold again. So bring your toes in slightly, heels out. Your hands will be at your hips once more. Elbows press back. Inhale, chest lifts, look up. And then exhale, forward fold. Okay. Releasing your hands. You can bring your hands onto your mat. You can grab opposite elbows and literally hang out here. Again, releasing the stress and tension in your neck. If this is the part of class where you prefer to do a headstand, you can absolutely go into that. Another really great thing about doing this virtually is if you're practicing headstand, you can do it in the privacy of your own home. And if you topple over, nobody knows. Being here and just breathing in this space for a few more breaths. If you're in headstand, go ahead and come down. And then coming into a couple of twists here. So bring your right hand onto your mat underneath your chest. Inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. So if this is enough for you, you stay here. If you need more, your right hand will reach over towards your left calf or ankle or foot. And then your left arm will drop behind your back, reaching for your right pocket.